Okay, quick look through Thursday's end of day closing screens. It's a warm one. It's absolutely boiling in the office. Cheers, James. So let's get through these. I just thought I'd just buzz through the markets first, actually, because transports, we're just a reversion to mean at the moment. We're just back down into a falling trend. Industrials, same really, primary trend's still up, but we're in that twitchy area. As you can see, the 10-month could, on a pullback, the 10-month will be down again. But a bit stronger on the S&P. It's flicked back bullish, obviously, but we've got this void below us. Gun to my head, I say we pull back and then, things get interesting. That would be what I would predict, but that's just prediction, isn't it? But if the pullback, is goes the price route rather than the time route. I mean, we're already kind of doing the time route, but time, it just orderly bases out, maybe respects this area here and sort of goes sideways, or price where it does a deep pullback and everyone goes, oh, retest to the lows. If a pullback is ahead of us, we might go through highs yet before the first full pullback. It will come. There's always pullbacks, but if we've actually started the process here, it could just be another little bull flag what we're building here. But if we've started the process, yeah, a few scary days, a little bit of a pullback, then a few scary days. That's the faster option, but the more destructive option. Orderly pullback, and there's always a couple of horrible days in the mix, aren't there? There always are. Orderly pullback, a little bit more riding trend. Yeah, that's a lot more constructive, and those who sort of went through the post-pandemic as their first correction will be a bit more confident going into the next one, won't they? Because this was a correction what just got ugly, wasn't it? But after you've got an ugly move, one thing I always say is your portfolio kind of tells you how the market is, because on a whole you should be in the better stocks. You should be in the stocks what are holding trend, and they're all going to do what they do, but what you tend to find, if this is a buyable pullback, your portfolio tends to sort of offset. A couple are going up strong, and they're offsetting the ones what are correcting. You get this kind of portfolio relative strength into a pullback. That's the best. That's what you want anyway. But you don't. When correlations go to one, everything goes down together. But you know what I'm talking about. When your portfolio starts to be quite corky, even though the market's pulling back, that tells you there's accumulation is happening, and you're getting some traction. So that's I'll put the crystal ball away now. Yeah, to think that the Nasdaq can go straight back to highs and not do a normal pullback is a little bit, it's a bit far-fetched, isn't it? So, as we can see, we'll count the markets what have really performed strong. It's the S&P and the Nasdaq, and everything else in the US. The Russell, even the Dow and the transports are underperforming those two markets. The DAX has been the strongest in Europe, but guess what? The FTSE is actually, though it hasn't taken highs out like the DAX did, the FTSE is now holding stronger than the DAX, and even the 250, mate. I mean, same. Orderly pullback would be good, wouldn't it? And look at the small caps. It's as if the UK markets are looking the strongest out of the ones I follow. They definitely, even the AIM market looks pretty strong, doesn't it? But still, I've already drawn the correction in early, haven't I? Can I, creative license here. Let's just go at it again. I drew a little bit of a pop and a pull back onto the 5, didn't I? And it didn't quite work out how I was doing that, but there's the destructive method, and then there's the more, time or price. And yeah, when I draw so many lines on the chart like that, the market goes higher again usually. But we've done a 2/3 retrace, 50% retraces in the weakest ones, and we've done 2/3 retrace in the stronger ones in the US. 2/3 retrace being 2/3 of the move back to highs, and in the UK we're 2/3 across the board by the looks of it, aren't we? That's the 350, and that's the all share. So yeah, we've got the strongest looking markets. Now looking through stocks, it's not obvious which those growth stocks are at the moment. It's still, we're still just loaded with precious metals at the top of the GTRS. We're loaded with them, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and a few defense stocks in the mix. Defense, precious metals, few utilities. This isn't a bullish teed up market, is it? It's a pretty defensive market still. But so we want to see rotation into some interesting growth stocks in the UK. I'll have to do a little bit of a dig around and just see if there's any more floating higher from the lower ends. See if there's any stocks with any good growth, what are just coming off the lows. They've just gone through results and the like. But it's not obvious. It's not so obvious at the moment what those stocks are, apart from the ones we already know about. The obvious ones, the gold stocks, still, aren't they? They're screaming, aren't they? So yeah, utilities, REITs, staples. But we're happy to keep riding these gold stocks. Now let me just go through a few of the gold stocks as well while we're here. I'll just bring the UK up, list up, and just go through these. I don't think there'll be much in the screens tonight with it being a drifty day, but it goes to look for pressure. Just punch one in, eh? And then I'll go through the whole board of them. You'll notice London listed precious metals, we always get the ones that act better. If you go trying to trade US gold stocks, they trade absolutely awful compared to London-based ones. The LTN continues. Just fly through these. It's not all a pretty picture because a lot of these are just loss-making junk. But yeah, and just back to, you know, I remember when we was in a good market environment before the pandemic, and we had one member who just kept banging on about it doesn't matter about the growth. It doesn't matter about the growth. I say, look, you know, he said anything's working. You're in a market where anything's working. You know, it's like the opposite of when correlate. You know, in the pandemic, nothing's working. In a fantastic market, anything's working. But I like to trade the ones what have got gas in the tank for a reason. And just going through all these precious metal stocks, you'll notice that, you know, I mean, some of them will have a good story, the loss making, that, you know, they're kicking stones around and working on the resource, and they'll trend fantastically well. But the other ones what have got actually, you know, they're actually turning over sort of revenue, and they're acting awful. And, you know, the ones in the top of the GTRS, they've got growth. They've got they're basically shoveling money in all the time, and you know, the trends are like that. So I swear, if you was trying to pick gold stocks, and basically you was picking off the story, you'd probably miss all the trending ones. You'd probably just end up with a load of junk. But if you was just looking at the numbers, you'd end up with all the stocks. Well, you know, this is a return to growth. Obviously, we knew this when it broke out, but you know, there will be some what just don't make any money, and they're trending fantastically well as well. PAF here, it's just like a coiled spring up here. I don't want to curse it because I know we're riding this one, but we're riding all the good ones as a group anyway. But yeah, SRB, just, you know, you get my point anyway, don't you? I've got no forward numbers on this one, but I know turnover's going up through the roof, and the quarter on quarter, half on half was fantastic on it as well. And it really, you know, really has taken off now, hasn't it? Let's go through the last of them. So there will be periods when anything trends, but still, you know, if you want a good orderly chart if you're going to be trading loss making stocks, and there'll be a reason, you know, they start floating higher. The better the price action, the more likely there's something bubbling up under the surface, what's going to be positive. So I'll just buzz through these. It's low enough. We've only got 48 in the closing highs today. Just quickly fly through them. STB, yeah, I see that little base there, little sort of mini base in the mix. OPT, that was last week's. We looked at that last week, didn't we? Pretty clean line in the sand there. I'll just say it again, because occasionally I get a message and can you have a look at PRE? I was looking at it today. I was thinking of taking a position, and every time I get that message, I go down and there's some news in the last day or two. But the the low risk entry, if you're going to buy a breakout, buy it near the breakout. You're buying stuff like this, you get terrible sort of reward to risk, or you get shaken out on a pullback because you've just basically got nowhere to be wrong up there. When you buy something near the base, you can be long under the base. You can even go the aggressive side if you wanted to be more aggressive, or from a pullback, you get a potential slingshot. You can easily sort of manage those, but not from something like that mid-trend. Anyone buying today, even if it goes higher, if you always buy like that this far out, it's going to be a tough journey. So yeah, ADM as well as a little mini base on that one as well. On life insurance, high in the sky, I will say, not stage base. No need to be a hero at the moment while we're this market's and obviously we've got a high in the sky on GMR the other day as well. And sometimes these things they go, even if they go a measured move, and then they can do a hard retrace back below to mean trend. It's quite a common thing to see, the old hard retrace from these higher in the sky bases. So you have to be just aware of that, especially if you're wanting to get into a longer term hold rather than a short term sort of momentum move. So yeah, in the end of the day, I think we just saw that little closing high on ADM, didn't we? And let me just see. We'll jump into the swing points. Nearly forgot then. Just put the let's see what we've got in the pullbacks. We've got 23 today, so not many. Drink a coffee. Minute. Investment trusts, construction. A lot of loss-making ones again. What just getting a little bit of a interest in the resource space. Nothing jumping out here at me. We've got a lose less scenario on this one with a slight tick up in the turnover. What is it? Software. I don't know what it does. It's off the lows, isn't it? And usually I totally see that real clean line in the sand there. And this could be just chopping around forever, even if it is going higher. So, quick look at gold. It's just kind of flagging out there, isn't it? I think we could be going sideways for a while. Who knows? We've just done this run here and we haven't built a base yet. And then we'll go and have a look at TLTs on the lows still. Bitcoin just bumbling around just below highs there. Yeah, keep it simple. There you go. Our old dollar chart from back in 21. Keep it simple. Baseline, zone of interest, first pullback, higher high, pulls him back in early, off it goes on its journey. Keep it simple. Okay, I will leave it there. It's like a sauna in the office. See what tomorrow brings. Cheers all.